The Little Mermaid was released in 1989 and was directed by Ron Clements and John Musker and is the 28th Disney animated feature film and is based on the Hans Christian Andersen story of the same name, which follows a mermaid princess who makes a Faustian bargain in an attempt to become human and win the prince's love. It's been a long time coming, but we are finally at the Disney Renaissance, the most important era for the company as it brought Disney back from near collapse after several decades of declining interest in their animated offerings. And after watching all of the films from that transitional era after the death of Walt Disney, I think I've made a pretty good case for how underrated that era truly is, and how the Dark Age name mostly comes from the box office and one or two animated duds than the actual quality of the films themselves. The Little Mermaid was the film that kicked off the Renaissance in style, spearheaded by young, impressive talent under the guidance of Jeffrey Katzenberg, and kicked off not only an impressive era, but the film itself is probably the second most important Disney film behind Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and it happens to be one of my all-time favorites in the Disney lineup. The Little Mermaid is a magical experience. The animation went back to the full-on traditional animated look, which separated it from years of the Xerox processing used for the films during the 70s and 80s. And it took Disney back to its roots with an ambitious and crowd-pleasing fairy tale in the vein of Snow White and Cinderella, which came before. And it's perfectly done here. Right from the opening of the film with the underwater imagery, it evokes a gravitas we just haven't seen since the Silver Age, and it's a very impressive first impression. The ambition on display is apparent, and the teaming up of Clements and Musker would be beneficial to the company, giving Disney some of its best and most ambitious animated films ever. However, I want to start this review off by diving a little deeper and look at what, for me, truly makes this film so special and one of the greatest of all time. I think the heart and soul of The Little Mermaid lies in a sequence that was nearly cut out of the film, and that is the Part of Your World scene. That song is not only integral to the story of the film, which I will be going into why this scene is needed here in a bit, but this song is also, in my opinion, the greatest Disney song ever written. And much like this scene, it is the heart and soul of the film. The combined lyrical and musical efforts of Howard Ashman and Alan Menken are also the heart and soul of the film. Without their contributions to the film and their wonderful soundtrack, this film just isn't the same. They worked so well together that they were tasked with Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Pocahontas, and Hunchback of Notre Dame. But with the death of Howard Ashman just before the release of Beauty and the Beast, he would only end up contributing some lyrics to Aladdin. Part of Your World is a classic I Want song. Howard Ashman put it best in behind the scenes for this film that in every musical there is a scene where the main character sings about what they want, and with that song you are with them the rest of the way as they reach that goal, and he is so right. It's weird to me that there's people out there that look at this song in a very, I want to say, misguided way when it comes to it. There are detractors that will say the song is simply about a princess who already has everything, and you're telling me she wants more? But here's the thing. What she wants isn't physical like gold or jewels. It's not wealth or status. Listen to the lyrics. Listen to the heart of the music, and you'll realize the song is speaking to the heart of what Ariel wants. She is trapped under the ocean where she has to be a certain way, but she wants to be able to see the world, see the surface. She wants more than the trapped, pampered life she was born into, and that's the beauty of the song. Matched with the beautiful animation, especially in the reprise of this song, that moment of her on the rocks, the waves crashing behind her, is one of the greatest moments in any film, and will bring a tear to your eye, as it always does for me. It's an example of the beautiful blending of animation, music, and song. Alan Menken can't go unnoticed either. His orchestral soundtrack sends shivers down my spine and complements Howard Ashman's lyrics. It's the best work they have ever done together. And yeah, I know the Beauty and the Beast soundtrack is great, but this one just hits me more on an emotional level. And to think this scene almost didn't happen. Test audiences were apparently bored during the song, and it took people like Howard Ashman to stop the higher-ups, such as Jeffrey Katzenberg, from omitting it, because he basically told it how I've explained it here. The scene is the heart of what makes The Little Mermaid work. It successfully sets up our lead protagonist, gets us to care about her and her wants, to eventually see her succeed in getting that happy ending. It's not about a pampered princess that just wants more because she wants something out there that the world of the sea just isn't giving her, and that's why this scene is so special. This scene is even more important when you see the mistakes she makes that lead her into the main conflict of the story, when she eventually sells her voice to the sea witch Ursula. We know the mistake she's making, and we just want to reach out and try to save her because the film up to this point has done such a great job of getting us to care for her. The Little Mermaid is truly a story about duality, and the song illustrates this, making for some perfect theming. Ariel is part of one world and dreams to one day be part of another, and Prince Eric is that goal for her, and we juxtapose her with Ursula, who is the complete opposite of Ariel. She lacks her beauty and youthfulness, which are things that Ursula covets to the point where in the film's climax she transforms herself into a human to marry Prince Eric in Ariel's place. Ursula, like Ariel, has dreams, but they are on opposite sides of the spectrum. Not to mention, she kind of wants to take over Atlantica. The film is also about letting go. Ariel wants to let go of her world under the sea for one that is much more unpredictable and exciting, while her father, King Triton, must learn to let go of his youngest daughter. Her father is cruel at the beginning of the story, clearly in the wrong, and there's moments where he comes to this realization himself, but you get the sense he really does love his daughter, and when he hugs her at the end of the film, he has finally accepted he doesn't have to protect his daughter anymore. She will be doing all right on her own. It's moments like these that make this movie truly something special. The music, animation, and lovable characters are all very strong and help in getting you wrapped up into the story. I've barely even touched on a lot of the aspects people talk about with this movie, such as the rest of the fantastic music and characters, which I could honestly devote to a whole other video. But to briefly mention them, Under the Sea and Poor Unfortunate Souls and Kiss the Girl are standouts in a practically perfect soundtrack. There's a reason why Under the Sea won an Academy Award. It's one of the catchiest Disney songs, and Poor Unfortunate Souls is a song that blends music, animation, and performance all in one, and just does not work without any of those three. Ursula is such a big role that you need someone with the voice chops of Pat Carroll to really do it justice. As for characters, I already mentioned Ursula, but you can't deny the infectious presence of Samuel E. Wright as the Rastafarian crab Sebastian, who is probably the most iconic character to come out of the film. With memorable characters like this, The Little Mermaid stands as a testament to good writing and putting the right people in charge. And it's honestly satisfying to see that it worked out so well because The Little Mermaid went on to be a major success for the studio and ushered in what we now know as the Disney Renaissance. There's a reason the film resonates so strongly to this very day, and part of that has to do with the moment where one lonely mermaid sings her heart out in a grotto. That's the magic of The Little Mermaid. And with all of that said, I'm going to give The Little Mermaid a 9 out of 10. I could have gone on with several other aspects that make this film so great. I didn't even talk about the animation in as much detail as I would have liked, but that really wasn't the thesis of this video. But it is without a doubt one of the most beautiful and expressive animated films I've ever seen. That said, I hope you enjoyed this one as much as I enjoyed talking about it. The Little Mermaid is one of the best films ever made, in my opinion, and I wanted to talk about it in a different way than others might. I'm excited to move on with my favorite Disney eras, so look forward to my next review in the coming weeks, as we'll be looking at The Rescuers Down Under. I'm looking forward to that, but as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and stay positive.